If your tracks don't sound as good as tracks from your favorite artist, you might be doing this one critical mistake. Let me show you before and after so you can see how much it can improve your tracks. This is how much it improves your tracks. So in this video, I'm going to share this one secret to groove in music that you know, but you are not doing it. And it's going to be so easy to take your tracks to the next level. So let's get started. Let's start with first thing. What is groove? Groove is a relationship of all musical elements in the track that work together like a mechanism. So you see here the synchronicity between the bass and the lead sound. So let's go to Ableton and I'm going to show you 3 examples of different grooves. And I want you to listen to the synchronicity, how well the elements in the track work with each other. So the drums, the bass, the leads, and so on. Listen to the first one. So in this part of the track, you can hear multiple layers synchronized. They work as one mechanism. This is a good example of a groove. So I feel as a good coach when I'm showing my tracks as a really good example. So now listen to the second example. In this case, we have the lead sound, which is the trumpet and the bass. They play the same melody. And because of that, again, looking at this diagram here, they are synchronized. So the elements, the sounds, the energy, it is going in one direction, reinforcing each other, right? So we can listen to this part and pay attention to the synchronicity. So the main lead sound, the layers, the drums, the track feels really clean and aligned with itself, right? And this is what you want to achieve in the groove, when you're making your tracks, right? Here's another example. More space equals better groove in the track. So depending how busy the arrangement is, this will dictate how good your groove is. I'm not saying that it is wrong to have a lot of sounds in the track, but always keep in mind, maybe your tracks are lacking groove because your arrangement is too busy. So let me break down 2 more examples of the groove here. So this is a very simple track, but it illustrates how important it is to synchronize your elements. So I want you to listen to the kick, bass, and the lead sound here. So listen to how well it's aligned, right? You can hear that the lead goes perfectly well with the bass because they have a very similar rhythm. Some of the notes are playing at the same time, but some are not. And let's listen to the second variation for the same track, a bit different rhythm, and try to pay attention to the lead and the bass again, how well they go together. A bit different rhythm. And now we can jump into the next example. So in this case, we're gonna have second lead sound playing with the first bass line. And this is, you're gonna hear that the groove is lacking. It is not synchronized from the arrangement and energetical point of view. Listen to this. I'm not saying that this is bad. This could work, but listen to the synchronicity here again, and we jump to the next example. Right? It is more aligned with each other, and the same in this example. Same here. So I hope it makes sense. Okay. Now let's talk about what makes a good groove. Understand space in music. Space allows your tracks to breathe. Emptiness is a part of music as well. So for example, separation between the elements, between the kick, bass, drums, and everything that you have is what is allowing your track to have a nice groove. So we can start comparing those two examples from the beginning. I want you to listen to the low end here. And just try to observe how you feel about this groove. And we can listen on studio speakers. Not that this is super bad, but listen to the punch, the clarity, and the separation in the first example. And once again, the second one. Not as good, right? So space, separation between elements. Make sure you have this in your track. So I'm gonna play you the second example, and this is what is happening from the arrangement, from the groove point of view. Every single element is just off. It is overlapping, and it is not good at all, right? So this is a mess from the dynamics point of view. So you heard the kick, the bass, and now let me play you the whole loop and try to listen and look at the diagram to really feel into the track. Right? So I hope that you were able to look at this and in your mind paint a picture of the sound and understand why it is looking like this. Of course, it's like a very, very bad example. I wouldn't like make a track intentionally like this, but it shows how important it is to have space in your tracks, to have that groove, to have synchronicity between your elements, right? So we can listen to the first loop again, just for comparison, and try to listen. And once again, the second one. So very bad, unsynchronized, it's a mess, okay? Let's talk about the next thing. So this is what is basically happening in the second example. So instead of working for one groove and reinforcing each other, other elements are fighting for the space, and the more conflicting sounds you have, the more you ruin the groove of the track. This is basically, again, what is happening here. So we're gonna fix it really soon. If you want to learn more about the groove, I have two really amazing videos that I recommend to watch on my channel. One about the drums and one about the groove. I go in depth. The link is going to be here, so just click on the playlist on the link that I'm going to put here, right? Before I tell you the real secret, let's discuss one more thing. How to know the length of the elements. So there's not like right or wrong. It's just you have to be specific about what you want in the track. So for example, example number 1, short kick, massive and long bass, short snappy hats, and powerful long claps. So you have to paint your picture in your head, or at least imagine what you're trying to create, because a lot of times, I see people in my coaching sessions with clients, just online, people doing something and they don't really have an intention, they don't have a goal, and because of that you just end up doing random things for your tracks and just it doesn't work, right? So if you have a thought in your mind, okay, gonna go for this bass, this kick, these drums, that's it, here you have it. So one example for the short and snappy drums would be the first track that I showed you here, right? So we can listen to here and try to, in your head, imagine the shape of the drums, because it's going to be short and snappy. So again, in this example, short snappy hats, short snappy claps. The bass is a little bit more massive because it's sustained. And then I can show you another example, the second track again. So the drums are snappy, they are short. We're gonna cover that in more specifics. Right, so in this example, the clap is a little bit more like this compared to the first one. And you have to listen, you have to train your ears how to identify the length of the elements, how to identify the shape. But the biggest thing is you have to be clear and you have to experiment and see what works best for your track, okay? Now, this is the real secret to the groove, and it is so simple. It is the ADSR envelope, and people never even tweak it, they never touch it, and this is why your tracks sound weak. So it can either supercharge or kill your mixes depending on the settings. If your track lacks groove, the problem is most likely the ADSR. It's just wrong ADSR. So let's break down some examples. So first, I want to go into the second track, and I want to fix the kick and the bass. I want to show you how important it is to have the right ADSR. So let's have a closer look at what is happening here, right? So this is the ADSR that we have right now on the kick with the second example. Pretty long, right? We can play with it. We can make it shorter, too short. So let's fix that. Let's fix that. First thing first is going to be the bass. I want to start with the bass. Actually, let's make the kick a little bit shorter. And you're going to hear that as we go with real phones here, how much just by shortening the kick and the bass, you can affect the groove of the track, right? So, and we can also have a look at the oscilloscope, so that you can understand this even more. This is what is happening here. Have a look at the oscilloscope. So it's a mess. You can see the kick is overlapping the bass line. So first thing first is we are fixing the kick a little bit. It's already a little bit better. Now let's do the same thing for the bass. So you can see I intentionally made it very, very long. So most of the times, the release is the parameter that may ruin your groups because it's just way too long. So let's cut the release and let's cut the decay time. Let's make it like this. Now have a look at the oscilloscope. So you can see and hear how quick of a fix this is. But again, a lot of people just completely forget about tweaking this parameter. It should be your number one thing when you are creating sounds and adding sounds. You added a sound and you go straight to the ADSR. have this as a rule. This is a no-brainer. This is a must, right? And the same thing you have to do for the filter. So it's not just the volume envelope, but also the filter of the in the synth, right? Because if you make it like too long, okay, this is not bad like on its own. But you can also hear how much it does affect the sound. And this is very easy. It's like, again, all I had to do is just shorten my parameters. Maybe we can make the kick a little bit longer. That's it, okay? Maybe it could be. You can tweak it again. So you can see that having one wrong envelope setting can ruin your bassline completely. Even if you're gonna have like a good volume envelope, if your filter envelope is off, it's just gonna ruin your kick and the bass grooves, right? Okay, so let's leave it at this point. Let's now talk about the drums. We can do like... This will be enough. Now let's start fixing the drums. So for the drums, it's the same thing. All you really have to do is just experiment and see, right? So we can make it super snappy, super short. It's cool, right? Really nice. But maybe you want to go for something a little bit longer. So I'm gonna try it something like this. This is too short. This is too long because the character of the track is punchy, it's snappy, it's like, you know, you also have to keep in mind the style, the genre. Again, be intentional, have a goal in your mind. So in this case, I want short and snappy. And then we can go with the hi-hat and start tweaking the hi-hat. So for the hi-hat, we had the same problem, right? So the envelope, like most people, this is the default envelope, and you will go like this, and that's it. You're not going to change it at all, right? Again, I'm not going to say this is bad, right? It's okay, but it could be better, at least like 50-60% better. So we can go here. You can see how much we improved groove in 2 seconds. And then you really have to dial in the right settings. So for this track, we want short and snappy. And then we do the second hi-hat. This is the top layer. Really nice, you can see, right? And then if I make the clap longer, you fuck up the sound. That's too much, a little bit too long. So something like that. Okay, we fixed the drums, and now let's fix the lead sound. So for the lead sound, it is exactly the same thing. Let's go back to the presentation. You have to keep in mind, okay, where does my energy, like how does my energy go, right? So we want to synchronize the leads. We want to synchronize every element. So pads, chords, leads, basses. So in this example, the lead, again, it is way too long. I don't like it. So we go to Serum and let's start tweaking that. Too short, too long, right? Let's do like this. Pretty good. Let's make it dry. Cut the lows a bit. And let's start tweaking the envelope a little bit more. And again, you can see it's so simple. You're just not doing that. Play with the release. Sustain can matter a lot as well. So I think we're gonna go like. I think this is it, right? Something like that. And again, from the mixing point of view, yes, it may be a little bit muddy, but it is not important for now. We're just working with the groove. The mixing, just forget about that. Focus on the groove. Right? You can see such a big difference. And another one, the second lead sound. This is like way too much. And then again, we'll go to Diva, depending on the synth, right? So we can do a little bit shorter. So now you can hear that all the elements are super synchronized. And did it take that long? No, but again, you're just not doing that. This is pretty much here, right? So good envelope for all the sounds. Nice, clean, and punchy. And to summarize and wrap up the video, these are the questions for better groove in the tracks. So always ask these questions. Do you have a defined groove in the track? Yes, no. What elements make up the groove? So in this example, the bass is the main element, so I'm making my lead around it, right? Do all instruments work for one groove, right? So does it go together with the energy? If not, you remove them. Do drums reinforce the groove I have in bass and instruments? When adding new sounds, does it add or take away from the groove? Can I simplify my arrangement? 9 out of 10 times you can. Actually, I'm going to link some of the arrangement videos. Go and watch them. And these are just few examples. Just be more critical and pay attention to the details when you are producing. So this is the framework, and I 100% guarantee if you start tweaking your ADSR as the very first thing when you're adding new sounds, your tracks will sound 10 times better. And if you need help with your music, with taking your production skills to the next level, check the links in the description, go to my website, let's have a conversation. I would love to help you with your music. So don't forget to watch the videos, and I'll see you in the next one.